See if we're. Hey, everybody.
Hey.
We are live. We are live. I'm here to celebrate my 50th birthday with all you wonderful people. And I want to give a huge shout out to Elaine for joining me. And I didn't give you a warning, Elaine, but would you like to tell us a little bit about yourself and about your channel?
But it's your birthday. You should tell us about you first. What are you doing to celebrate besides the live stream?
I did go to New Orleans this past weekend. My
Nice.
husband and I, we left Thursday and we got home yesterday, and we are tired, but it was so much fun. We did a lot of drinking, a hell of a lot of drinking. We did a lot of eating and a lot of walking, and we just had a wonderful, wonderful weekend. So here's to 50. This is just sparkling ice, no alcohol today.
I got coffee, but woo! Cheers!
So, Elaine, tell us a little bit about your channel.
My channel. Well, funny story. Let's start with the name. So my channel name is Cobalt Dragon. It was originally how I started on YouTube way back in July 2021. And it wasn't until April 2022 that I uploaded my first video. Probably deleted at least 40 before I got there. But a friend of mine had said, you can't use Cobalt Dragon. That's going to freak people out. Go with Elaine Online. Thus, my intro is this cute little thing with Elaine Online. And then YouTube had handles come out. And being a inky dinky, I didn't blow up the first year channel. Somebody out in YouTube land is Elaine Online. So I decided I don't want a channel name and a different handle. So I'm like, I'll give Cobalt Dragon a try. And guess what? The handle was free. Thus,
I love it. I love it. Anything with dragons, I mean, come on.
And so far it's worked. So, I mean, it was meant to be. I've got some of my dragons up here. And when I had a business, it was part of my business card. But so, yes, it's mostly books because I was at a crossroads. I'd closed my business. What do I do? What do I love? I love books. I've been reading all my life. I'm loving your series with the, books throughout your years. And I'm the same. I mean, I've been a reader since I was yay high to a grasshopper. And I was like, okay, what? And it's funny I'm even doing this because I hate anyone who knows me. I hate being on camera. Like I wouldn't even let people take my pictures. And now suddenly here I am 3 years later, 400 plus videos.
Yes.
But yeah, so my channel is books. I read all kinds of books, fiction, nonfiction. About the only genre, I'll be honest, I avoid is romance. I just read ACOTAR for a number of reasons, and I'm preparing to do my ACOTAR or ICOTAR video. But I mean, there are a lot of good things to it. It's just not my genre. I'm like you. My happy reads are thrillers and horror and Stephen King for the fiction. Nonfiction, I'm into astronomy, astrology, earth spirituality, ancient civilizations, pretty much A to Z. Except, hey, I just saw that. And the Z, I guess, is cryptozoology is the closest.
There you go. There
And
you
then I
go.
have my silly little kitties, Panther
Yes.
and Cena. Tiki joined us 2 years ago and takes over the camera space. And then I also share my nature videos, my yard. So I've got my groundhogs, my skunks, the raccoons, the squirrels, the birds. And as much as I hate living in the city, My yard is my happy place because it's all
Mhm.
planted for nature. Nature knows it, and they're here. So that's yeah, I guess in a long drawn out, that's my channel.
Well, if you are not subscribed to Elaine, you need to do so because, like she said, she talks about books and she has cats and she has nature, but she has such a comforting presence and so much wisdom interspersed in her video. She is a source of comfort for me, and I just highly, highly recommend Elaine.
Thank you. That's so sweet. I
Yeah,
love your channel too.
thank
I really
you.
do.
Thank you. We will hop into the comments and see who is here. Amy, thank you. Thank you so much for the birthday wishes. If you're on still, and anybody else who's on, let us know what you're up to today. How are you spending this Monday? Hey, Brooklyn, how are you? Thank you for the birthday wishes.
Mhm.
Let us know what you're up to. M, my sweet friend M. I'm so glad you made it. Love to know what you're doing today. Probably cooking something delicious. She's always got books and good food on her
Ooh.
channel. Hello,
Mhm.
Ashley. Hey, thank you so much for joining. Thank you for the birthday wishes. Hey, Russell, thank you. Thank you so much. Looking at all the emojis. Woo woo. Thank you. Hey, Matt from Creativity is Therapy. Thank you so much for coming on and for the birthday wishes. Hey, Ben, thank you. So glad Elaine was talking about you all good before we got on about how you've been there for her own sprints. And so I'm so excited to have you here today. Thank you for the birthday wishes. Yeah, drink cranberry juice. Yeah, cheers. Cheers. I'll tell y'all about everything I drank in just a minute, but whoo,
Oh, awesome.
it was a wild time, I'll say that.
Hey, that's good. You only turned 51, so make
That's
it
what I said.
memorable.
I said I'm gonna live it up. Oh,
That's
see, M
sweet.
is great. I know you two would love each other for sure.
See, I'm finding new channels to check out, so I'll make note. This is awesome.
Yeah. Oh, and Matt has a great channel too at Creativity is Therapy. The way he talks about books and then he has art too, if you kind of can tell from his
Ooh,
title. So he's signed up, and I think you'll really enjoy his channel too.
awesome. I'm going to have to write these down because sometimes I find you can't always get to them through the chat.
Yes. And let's see, Brooklyn wants a reminder of your channel name, Elaine.
Yeah, I pop that down, and I know sometimes it's hard to find, especially if you're looking for smaller channels.
Mm-hmm.
So if you can't find me through Cobalt Dragon and my icon is Panther standing on the table. So if you don't see that, type in Cobalt Dragon recent uploads, and then you should be able to find me. Because I don't think I can put a link in your live stream, Jen.
Yeah, I gotta figure out. I know people talk about having like it's like a little wrench or some kind of looking little
Oh,
icon.
for moderators, yeah.
Yeah,
And I don't know how to put links in yet, even though I've been doing it for a while, but it's all a learning curve.
it is. That's what I was telling Elaine before we went on. I've hosted a couple of my own live sprints, but most of the time I've gone on other people's channels, so I still get a little bit rusty with a live stream. And then I used to worry that I was going to say something,
Yeah.
that was going to like have me canceled or whatever. But I'm better about that now because I do teach online classes to middle and high schoolers, and the platform that I'm on, every class we teach is recorded. So
Oh.
I'm always going to be, heard and stuff. So I've kind of gotten past that, but there's always a level of nerves, I think, before any time. that we get on camera.
Yeah, that's why I edit my videos, because I edit the crazy out, you know, and that's why I worry with my live streams. It's like, oh, if we
Right.
talk about something that I know is going to agitate me, you know, like current,
Uh-huh.
it's like, all
Mm,
right, remember you're live.
yes,
If you're doing a
yes.
video, you can rant and then cut it out.
I know. I have to be careful too because especially my high school students,
Yeah.
they do. I'm fortunate, I'll say the platform I teach on is OutSchool, and they are very intentional about diversity and inclusivity, and being the kind of platform that welcomes diverse students from all kinds of backgrounds.
Yeah.
And so I do have their support, and their beliefs align with mine. And then a lot of my students' beliefs align, but they may specifically, if we're talking about certain books that relate to
Mhm.
current events, one of them may say, yeah, like that blah blah who is, in the White House. And I have to say, I understand, but we have to be careful because we are being recorded. You have to be
Yep.
careful, but yeah.
It's a
But here
very
you
different.
really have to be careful on my channel because I'll take whatever comes. Elaine and I were talking about it, beforehand too. Like turning 50, it's great. It doesn't bother me. 30 bothered me. I felt old when I turned 30. I was like, oh, my life is over. And then when I turned 40, I was like, hell yeah, I made it. And now that I'm 50, I have no fucks to give. So that's where we are.
And see, I found, and it's funny because you keep hearing some people, oh, they're stressing out about 50 and they're stressing out about menopause and this and that. And I'm like, 50 rocked.
Uh-huh.
It was I made it. I'm
Yeah.
not worrying about what other people think. Okay, to be fair, I've never filtered my mouth. But it got worse after 50. I mean, I was good at work because I needed a
Yeah.
paycheck and I
Yeah.
needed a job. But in terms of other things, it's like life's too short. Like the
Yes.
clock's ticking now. And after 60, it was like, whoa, free reign, man.
Yeah. That's what I
Clock's
say.
ticking faster.
So if anybody watching, if you're younger, don't be afraid of getting older. It's not as scary as you think, and it's quite a bit of fun.
Oh, yeah. And you can have fun coloring your hair. I still haven't decided. I was looking back at some of my older videos, and
Mhm.
I hadn't colored my hair in years. I just had some color to use in the closet a few months ago, and I'm like, now I can't decide. Do I want to go back to being all gray? Or am I just going to have fun and do like wild neon colors now
Yeah,
and again with braids? Like
I
it's
would love some neon colors. Love it. I hadn't colored my hair for years, and like my hair is really well. It used to be more of a strawberry blonde, but as I've gotten older, a lot of the red had started kind of fading, and so I had like very. Well, if you were watching my channel when I first started, blondish, hair with some white in it, but then for the longest time, I kept just looking at the dark color hair dye for like months. I'd look at it in the store and I'd be like, no, I don't feel like fooling with it. And then a couple of weeks ago, 2, 3 weeks ago, something like that, I was like, I've been looking at it all this time. Let me do it. So that's where I am now. This is like darkest brown. So that's where
looks
I am now.
lovely.
Thank you. Let's see. Russell says he's going to check out your channel too.
Thank
Voice is
you.
a comfort to me, Jen, especially when I'm at work. Oh,
Nice.
I know. I met some people this weekend that were staying in the same like place we were staying, and they were older than I am, and they were from California. And the man at the couple, he looked at me. He said, "I just have to know, where is your accent?" And I was like, Alabama. He said, I out. So I was like, thank you. So it's always fun to meet people from different places. Let's see. Kill Hill Carnage. Ooh, I have not heard of that. Let me know what you're thinking of it. Let me know who that's by. I like that title. Brooklyn's working. Well, thank you for hopping in, for taking the time while you're working. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. I'm at home working in the garden, doing laundry.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's too cold here. I'm so jealous of everyone out in their gardens. I have 2 more months to wait.
See, I'll be jealous of you though for the cool weather. Like it's been comfortable the past couple of days, and I didn't really know how it was going to be because I live near Mobile, Alabama, and our weather is very similar to the weather in New Orleans because New Orleans is like 2.5 hours from us. I'm not far.
Oh,
But the
wow.
weather, yeah. So it was like a quick drive, really. The weather was so nice in New Orleans, like highs in the low 70s and lows in the like low 50s. That's Fahrenheit. Because,
Yeah.
here in the United States, we don't like to get on board with anything else. The rest of the world might be Celsius, but that's
Well,
another topic that will ruin my birthday.
fun fact though, Jen, when I was going to school is when they were switching here in Canada between imperial and metric.
Uh-huh.
And being the little rebel I am, I still relate to imperial. I still think Fahrenheit. My husband will babble in Celsius. It's all, I'm like, it means shit to me. I don't know. I refuse to learn metric.
They were just rebels.
If it started when I was in kindergarten, you had a chance, but I can't remember what grade, and I'm like, nerds to this. I know this other stuff. Then I had to learn it working in schools.
Yeah. When you're little, it kind of sticks like that. Let's see. Yes. Yeah. So anybody who wasn't, sure didn't catch what Elaine said, Cobalt Dragon. And then let's see what happened.
You never know with Ven.
Lessons, White. Oh, White Fang. Ooh. Wonderful, wonderful. So are you reading that aloud to your children? Like Elaine, sorry, M homeschools, and she has like all different ages of children. And I homeschooled, I have 4 kids, and my middle 2 kids were homeschooled all the way from kindergarten until they graduated. Now my oldest, I was teaching public school until she entered 9th grade. And that's when I decided to come home to care for my middle 2 children who are only like 2 years apart. So I homeschooled them, and I gave my older daughter an option. But by that point, like I said, she was already in 9th grade, and she thought about it, but she decided to just continue, finishing public school. And then I have my youngest daughter that we adopted from China in 2009, and she has significant disabilities and developmental delay. And she's totally blind in one eye and partially has some vision in the other. And she's autistic. She's got a lot of different diagnoses, but she goes to a local school that's specifically designed for special needs students, and it's absolutely wonderful. It's just
awesome.
It's great. So I've got homeschool kids, and the kids that went to public school too.
Nice mix.
Yes.
And White Fang was amazing. I read it years ago. I love Jack London's work. I actually just found one of his books I hadn't read through one of my thrift store hauls. But to be honest, the older I get, I couldn't go back and read White Fang again. It's a beautiful story. I loved it. I can't do it. I watched your video on Stephen King and Cujo, and I forgot about the perspective. I knew I couldn't read Cujo again. I was actually supposed to do a buddy read with someone who's going through King's catalog. I'm like, I can't do it. I read it once, I've seen the movie, and now I'm getting teary because I just thought of your video and I'm like,
I'm tearing up too.
and now I know why I can't read it again. I would just be wrecked for
It's
days.
just like I said, like in my video where I've got a series going. If you hadn't gotten a chance to check it out yet, where I'm talking about for 50 years, 50 horror books that shaped me. And part 2 came out last Wednesday. And I'll mostly talk about Stephen King
Yeah.
and several of his books in that video, with also a discussion about Tananarive Due. She's the other author's books I focus on, but I was talking about Cujo and how I'd seen the movie like several times, starting from when I was a little kid, and I had never read the book. And I was like, I don't remember how many years ago, but a few years ago, I finally read the book. And like some of you that have read the book, also not only do we get that perspective from Cujo, the dog, which is like ripped my heart out.
Yeah.
The ending is different too. The ending in the book is different than the movie. And that is also gut wrenching. But I can handle that better than having to read the dog's perspective again, because Cujo, I know it sounds like I said in my video, it might seem cheesy or kind of ridiculous that like you're getting a point of view from a dog, but the way Stephen King can do it is just, it's masterfully written.
Yeah.
And it is just rip your heart out, because Cujo is like, oh, he doesn't understand what's happening when he gets rabies, and he wants to be a good boy, and he keeps saying, but I'm a good boy. But it's like all the sound and the sense and everything just pushing that, that rabid side of him, and he can't fight it, and he wants to fight it, but he can't. I just can't do it.
Yeah. And there's so many analogies that I think analogies is the right word, comes up with it, right? Because although Cujo is about a dog, and I don't know, maybe it's just my psychology background, but then you connect it to humans who have issues.
Yes.
And who either don't take their meds or don't get tested or don't go to programs. And it's that same similar type of thing, right? They're good human beings at their core. But because they're not addressing or dealing with whatever other issues are getting in the way, and things that normally wouldn't trigger or set them off suddenly become massive explosions.
Yes.
And it's not that they're bad people, it's something isn't there to help. I don't know if I want to say modify, or you know what I mean? If maybe they'd taken their meds the way they're prescribed.
Yes.
That, so really Cujo is such a big book in so many different ways.
Yes.
And the perspective, but some people can read it and maybe connect with it because it's a dog versus looking at it as if it was a human being doing those things. I don't know.
Yes.
Just made me think of that while you were describing it.
That makes so much sense, because King, he was also writing about his addiction when he wrote Cujo, about his, coke and alcohol addiction. And he, famously or infamously, however you want to put it, says he does not remember writing Cujo because he was so, coked out while he wrote it. So it definitely makes sense. Everything you said, as he was trying to deal with the way he acted, as an addict, in the ways he didn't want to act, but he couldn't at the time help himself until Tabby and his friends staged the intervention, and he got clean. Okay, see, look, Brooklyn found you with she said that recent uploads tip is helpful. That's a great tip, just in case anybody's having trouble finding a channel. So
I
Very
don't
few.
know why YouTube does it that way. You'd think putting in the name, but I did find I mean, not that I'm massive. I just passed 400 a little while ago.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And actually, just because, yes, I do have a bizarre sense of humor, Jen, you would know because you've watched my channel and different things. So I actually put up a community post today with my first poll ever. So the question is, will I do my thank you 250 unsubs video or my thank you 500 subs video, which will be first? Because I just passed 200 unsubs. Woohoo!
I love your attitude on that. I uploaded a photo of myself on TikTok at the protest because I participated in the hands off protest a couple of weeks ago. And so I had my sign, and my sign, there are so many things to fight for. So my best friend, her sign said, I'm standing up for those who can't.
Mm.
And so my sign said, get off my ovaries, because I'm tired of these men trying to tell somebody, every woman, what to do with their bodies. I'm so tired of them. And so I got like so many comments, more than I've ever gotten when I talked about books or anything else on TikTok. Most of them were from really rude people. But I mean, my views went up, up. So I just like every time I was like, thank you so much. I'm so excited because this is really boosting my page and I appreciate this comment. Or then sometimes when they said gross things like, no, you have nothing to worry about. You have nothing to worry about,
Oh,
sweetheart. And I was
geez.
like, I just responded, yikes. Would you care to explain exactly what you mean by that comment? Nobody did. But it's just, I love the attitude, like you're talking about with the unsubscribers. I know sometimes with that, it can be a bot on something like YouTube,
Yep.
but I know sometimes it's legitimate people who you say one thing and they're like, oh, unsubscribe. Well, like, okay, fine.
It's like, see ya, you were on the wrong channel anyway, dumbass.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I mean, I just laughed, and I mean, I'm not gonna lie. There's days it kicks you in the nads,
Yeah.
but if it's gonna destroy you, you can't have a channel for long because that's just the nature of YouTube, and it's not even personal. I mean, I know myself because I try, and when I'm sub to a channel, I watch videos. I try and comment. I try and keep up because all of that matters. And that's what, comments and likes and views, it keeps your channel going and out to more people. So I'm not someone who just subs for the sake of subbing.
Right.
And so then I go through my list quite often of, okay, who do I have connections with? Whose videos am I watching? Who reads or has, content that I know I'm going to follow? Whether it's not always books, there's other genres I follow, but I try and keep it to a reasonable amount. I mean, I'm way behind like everybody else, but what I also notice because I keep it down is YouTube will unsub you.
I've heard that.
When someone first told me that, I thought they were like lying. And then it happened to me, and I've lost a few channels, and I'm like, I didn't unsub. And I've had people who I know are watching, and they'd been unsubbed. Channels come and go, like people close accounts. There's so many different reasons. Like you say, some of it could be bots, and some of it is just, people aren't interested. And I'm cool with that. Like I said in my thank you 150, if this isn't your stuff, then I'm kind of glad you're gone. And I don't mean that in a bad way, but you just sitting there not watching and you don't like my stuff. and it's not because you're busy, it's just you don't like my stuff, then, go find something you do
Yeah,
enjoy,
yeah,
because I
exactly.
want people to interact and engage with. Like, I'm not in this for the money.
No.
I'm in this to like meet people and talk about books and learn about new books. And I joke with Ven about this too, because bless his heart, I hated Fourth Wing, but I read it. I liked the last 130 pages, but I was not reading the next two. So Lord love him, he read it. And this is where we came up with Voxer. And so I would get summaries on Voxer from him. I'm like, yes, save me time. I don't have to read
Exactly.
those two.
Yes, the community aspect is so important. Like I've been on BookTube for several years, but I only started my channel like in January of 2024. So I've only been, having my channel a little over a year, and I still only have like 330 something subscribers. And for the longest time, that bothered me because some people had been on for like less than I have or about the same time I have, and they already have like thousands of subscribers.
Yeah.
So it used to make me feel like I wasn't, important enough, or like people didn't like my stuff. But over the past several months, I've really had that perspective shift and just been so thankful for community and like true interaction, engagement, and connection with people.
Yep.
And I got to meet two people three actually, two booktubers and somebody I met through podcasting while I was in New Orleans. The wonderful
Nice.
Kat from Kat's Novel Adventures and Kelsey from Slime and Slashers. They came over and they had brunch with me at the
Awesome.
Vampire Cafe. So I'll put up some pictures on Instagram and on YouTube later. I don't have my phone in proper working order right now. I had to order another one last night after we
Oh,
got
no.
back from New Orleans. Wednesday night, I was listening to an audiobook. The audiobook is Cuckoo by Gretchen Felker Martin. And I always keep my phone in my windowsill above my sink when I'm washing dishes. I mean, I've
Uh-oh.
done this for like years, but somehow, some way, I was scrubbing in a pot that was like filled with soapy water, and I somehow hit my phone and knocked it into that pot.
Oh.
And I grabbed it out as quick as I could. Well, you're supposed to like immediately turn your phone off, but the whatever happened, the damage, even in that short amount of time, I could not get my phone to turn off. I couldn't even get the audiobook to pause. So I'm trying to do all this
No.
with my phone. The audiobook is going, going, going. I can't make it stop. I put it in a bag of rice. The audiobook was still going.
Oh, no.
I was like, I mean, it's bad enough anyway, but I can't even stop the audiobook. And I'm like, what the hell?
Oh,
Finally, I
no.
got it enough where I could stop the audiobook and turn it off. And I've had it in the rice, on and off. I took it to New Orleans in my bag of rice. I took my laptop, which I wasn't planning on taking. Then my husband had his phone. So he's doing all the recording, like clips for me to vlog. And, then he's getting all into it though, because we'd be walking down Bourbon Street and he's like, oh, I got to get this for the vlog. Oh, I got to get this. And I'm like, it's a mess. It's kind of annoying not to have your phone, but I said at the same time, it was kind of freeing in a way not to
Yeah.
have it. So maybe when I get it back, I will do a
Don't
better
put it on
job.
the windowsill.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. It's been safe always before, but word to the wise, just don't put it anywhere near water, okay? Especially if you're as clumsy as I am. I don't even know how I did it, but I guess I was scrubbing real hard. Maybe my elbow hit it.
Just
I don't
accidentally.
know. I was just like shocked. I mean, it's never good, but it was really annoying to have it happen right before that was Wednesday night and we left for New Orleans the next day.
Oh,
So I was having to make sure I had numbers for Kat and Kelsey and was able to write them down to get my phone working long enough to do that and give the numbers to my husband. so I could meet up. And it was a wonderful time. It was great, great, great. You'll see some too when my vlog comes up of me with Kat and Kelsey. But it was so funny because Kelsey, like when she came in and we were like all squealing and stuff like little children, and Kelsey looked at me and she grabbed me. She said, "Oh, you're real. You're real." I'm like, "Oh, yes." And then Sunday, I had coffee with Liz from the Scariest Things podcast. So it was so much fun to meet, your bookish friends in real life.
That's awesome. What a great memory.
Yes. Let's check these comments. Says heavy-handed with the edits. Yes. Yes. Sometimes I'll leave my little flubs in my videos, honestly, because sometimes I'm too lazy to edit it. But then other times I will, I'll edit it out because I'll start kind of going off on this tangent or not making sense. And instead of just trying to regroup, sometimes I just keep going, trying to make it make sense somehow.
Yeah.
I have to
I can relate.
Like, what were you talking about? What are you doing? You don't belong in front of the camera ever. Would you not just, keep telling myself like what's happening? Oh, he said, Ben said.
Yes, they have this running thing. And see, I'm doing good because I won't get shushed. So in Ven's lives, I'll get shushed.
Uh-oh.
Kat and Jenny love filling up the live stream, and they'll do it like with a letter or a word just to see if I can keep up with the comments, which I laugh. I'm like, girls, I used to work with teenagers. Hello, I can scroll down fast and see the comments I need to
Absolutely.
read.
Absolutely. Yeah, you got to learn to be quick on your feet with teenagers,
Oh, yeah.
Especially. Like
Quick
we
on
have
your
the
feet.
option on live, where I'm teaching my classes, there's the chat box. So they can chat and that's fine. I don't mind them chatting, but sometimes I'll have to turn it off if it's just going too much out in, left field and stuff. And I'll tell them, I'll say, if you continue to do this rabbit hole chat, I'll have to turn it off. And then most of the time they'll stop. So that's the positive thing that I have, because the kids I teach, they for the most part want to be there on the OutSchool platform, and their parents are paying for them to be able to take these classes. And they're very like niche classes. Like I teach mythology, folklore, poetry, literature, but it's kind of like just specialized areas where a lot of the times the kids will want to take it. Now, every once in a while, when I always like to ask my students what brings you to this class, because they have options they can choose from. So the only one I usually get them saying, well, my mom thought I needed it, it's like my poetry classes. And they're like, well, my mom said I had to have poetry, so I'm here. And I say, I appreciate that honesty, but my goal is to make you say, I get to learn poetry. I love to read poetry. So
nice.
It's a little bit different than like when I taught public school, when they kind of had to be there.
Yeah.
Some wanted to be, some didn't. Russell, my editing skills, Russell, are not that great, really. I still have so much to learn. So just get in there and do it.
Yeah, and that's it. Like I find too, like I do the basics, like most of my editing is just cutting out me babbling for eons and cutting down time. And the odd time I throw up a few things here and there, but there's way more to learn.
Yeah. And I haven't quite gotten there. Some people's videos are so lovely edited, especially vlogs. I do the best I can with my vlogs. So
yeah.
Russell, 30 got me too, but once I said, like, once I got to 40s and now 50, I'm like, here I am. I'm
Yep.
just ready to keep going. Let's see. Ashley said she was excited to turn 30, finally have her shit together. No, 38. Yeah. You know what? I don't know, Ashley, if it makes you feel any better. I turned 50 today and I still don't have my shit together. So,
61, still working on it.
yeah,
It's a work in progress.
I think so. I think we'll always to have some, have something to do
Well,
to
otherwise
be
you'd be
better.
bored.
Exactly, right? Russell, oh, hey, another one joining the 50 club. Let's see, M42 still the same. See, I don't think any of us really have our shit together. And I think if anybody says they do, they're probably lying.
Probably wear too much makeup and someone who can't put it on properly but still think they're worthy of worship. Just putting
Yeah,
it out there.
exactly. No, you're in good company, Ashley. We none of us have our shit together.
It's what
So,
makes the journey fun.
Cobalt Dragon, yes. Cobalt Dragon is Elaine's channel. And I don't know if you caught the hint, but she said if you look up like Cobalt Dragon recent uploads, you should be able to find it. And Brooklyn said that she was able to find it that way. So if you still can't find Elaine's channel, let me know. I'll get you there.
Thanks, Jen.
Thank you, Nicole. I was just watching Nicole's video where she talked about the Hunger Games trilogy. Oh, do
I
you have
need
one
to
of her
see that.
books?
I need to see her Hunger Games trilogy because I finished reading it and I'm curious to see what she thinks about it. But Obsidian Murders, Nicole just gave me permission to read from her book. So
Woo-hoo!
probably next week I'll be reading a little teaser, the first
Mhm.
few chapters, and then I'll be doing a review of the book. And I did a live stream with Nicole a while back, so I'll be linking that so people can go learn more about her and purchase her books.
Yes, Nicole has a wonderful channel and she is one of our booktube authors. I have one of her poetry books on my Kindle right
Nice.
now, Teal Nostalgia. And I've read a few of the poems and they are very good and I'm enjoying them very much. So check out Nicole's channel and book.
Definitely. Working hard.
Thank you, Nicole. Thank you for hopping in, even though you're working. I appreciate that. And let's see, okay, Tim Meyer. I've heard of Tim Meyer before. I'm trying to think if I've read something by him or not. Because there's a few different Tims, but I feel like I've read something by Tim Meyer. So I like that title, though. Like I said, Kill Hill Carnage. Oh, it's got twist. I love some twist. Yes. Hey, Georgia. Yeah. Okay. Well, then, hi, neighbor. You're right. You're right there, close by, Russell. Yay!
Oh, yay!
Yay! Found it.
Thank
Woo! Let's see. So M's talking about White Fang. Just reading
Right.
it on a year or two to read it to the youngest too. Yeah. Gotta wait till the kids are the right age.
Yeah.
Yeah, be
Yeah.
afraid, Russell. Have extra Kleenex on hand because Cujo will rip your heart out.
Yeah.
Let's see. M's laughing at something. There's no telling. I can't remember.
Think
What
it was
we
whatever we were chatting about at the time. Can't remember if it was editing or maybe when we were talking about having to dance around Captain Makeup and things.
Yes. Yes.
Best part, yeah.
Community. Yes, it is. It is. Right now, I'm so happy for the few people that watch my video. Intimate. That's a
Yeah.
good word for it. intimate, like real connection, like I'm talking to you and not an arena. Perfect start. And I refuse to pay for viewers. Yeah.
Yeah.
No. I love the genuine connection because I feel that so much. Well, I don't feel. I mean, let's be real. I know so much of
I'm
what
just
we
having
see
fun.
online is just fake or people just trying to get views, which there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, I'd be lying if I didn't say I would love to have more views.
Yeah.
But what's more important is this connection, especially with the way, like, and I'm gonna get on my soapbox a little bit, but it's my birthday. So
Yeah.
permission to get on my soapbox. I feel like the way things are going right now, the way they have been going, the way they continue to go, community is so important. Local community is very, very important. But I feel like too, the broader, not just national, but I'm talking to people right now in
Yeah.
other countries, but the connection across the borders, especially for those of us stuck here in the United States right now, where
Canada,
things
Canada.
just, yay, I would love to come over to Canada. But our administration is further isolating us away from, especially allies, and connecting us to other people who are quite the opposite of allies, or at least nobody I want to be allied with. But just that connection, that community is so important. That's one of the things when I was at the protest, I was just so moved by not only the diverse, groups of people that were there, but also the various age groups. I mean, there were young kids there with their parents, and they had their own signs about education. So these little kids, they knew enough to know something is wrong, all the way up to older people. Some of them were using canes, some of them were using wheelchairs. There were also a large, large number of disabled people of all ages participating in the event because, as you know, if you know anything, you're very well aware of the negative things that are happening to the disabled community.
Yep.
And I hope Crystal won't mind, but she has a great channel, Crystal, on her channel, Fiber Artsy. Fiber Artsy Reads. She did a really, really important video about the disabled community and the things that are happening in the United States right now. So I just want to talk about, that briefly and say, if you haven't checked her channel out, then please do so and check out that video. But just to see that connection, that it may feel sometimes like we're by ourselves in this, especially where I am in Alabama. But the local protest I went to in Mobile, there were hundreds and hundreds of people. So I know a lot of times the rest of this country or the rest of the world looks at the southern part of the United States and thinks everybody is a certain way, but that's not the case.
Well, and exactly. And I mean, look at our stream right now. You're in the States, I'm in Canada.
Yes.
There's hope, there's opportunity. I had put up a video by Senator Adam Schiff. He's from California, I believe. And I have to say, for all the crap that I've seen, and I don't buy into the news in terms of being accurate or anything like that. They've got their own agenda. I mean, they waited forever to mention 300 people being taken out of the country, at which point they were gone. Give me a break. If you're journalists, how didn't you know? But that being said, at least with Schiff, I had a sense of hope. I mean, he's one out of a whole bunch of complicit deadbeats, but at least there's hope.
Yes.
And as we have community and connect together, there's even more hope because you get to see all the people and what's happening. And it's those honest dialogues and the support and the love and the prayers and all of it, whatever you can do, there's hope. I mean, it doesn't mean things aren't going to be bad for a little bit, and I'm sure we haven't sadly seen the end of it,
No,
but
unfortunately,
we're not alone. And
no.
I think that more than anything is what's going to get us all to the other side of this is we're not alone. It's not just local, it's not just national, it's global.
It
And
is.
it's the one thing, thank goodness, that all this kind of shit's going down when we're at least able to still make these types of connections.
Yes,
Because, decades ago, had this been happening, or back in the time period, more and more are mentioning, we've seen this. you,
exactly.
you gotta stop
Mhm.
this shit before.
Exactly.
But in that time period, they didn't have the internet.
No,
Other countries didn't know what was happening, and the journalists were more on it because, they weren't part of the 1%
right.
making millions to report bullshit. And I don't care
Exactly.
what channel they work for, they're all fear
Yes.
mongers and nonsense with a little bit of reporting if you're lucky.
Yep.
Um, but it's people talking to people that is going to get the message out there and make a difference. And that's why community is huge,
Yes,
huge.
it is. And BookTube is such a wonderful community. I mean, I know there's drama somewhere, but I don't know about it and I don't want to know about it because the community we have is just special. Everybody loves everybody. Talking to friends.
Exactly.
Yes. Ashley, you are right.
Yep.
Let's see, what a great hubby. Must be talking about my husband. He's
Yeah.
great.
With the phone, that's
He's
awesome.
pretty great. Yeah, he became quite the expert. He's like, we got to capture this. Although I
Nice.
do have a video that I cannot show you. It will not be. It will not be on my vlog, or he may come and
Woo!
steal everything away. But it was the night we did the ghost and vampire tour. So we met at this place called the Voodoo Lounge to go on the tour. And if you got there about an hour before the tour, you could buy one get one free drinks. So we were in New Orleans and we were like, okay, well, we got to have a hurricane because you got to have it when you're in New Orleans.
Yeah.
So we both have one. And after we finished that one, I was like, let's do another one because we finished the one and it was still like 20 minutes before the tour. And of course, in New Orleans, you can take your drinks with you, all over the streets, whatever.
Oh,
So,
really?
yes, you just get to be people drink, smoke things all day, everywhere. Great time.
There you go.
So we had our second drink and we were just walking around, and then midway through the tour we stopped. They had a stopping point where you could go into another bar and you could use the restroom or get another drink, and I was like, you know what, I don't want another hurricane, but I'd like some wine. So I got like a glass of wine after my two hurricanes. Then Tim got a screwdriver, and then we did our walking around again for the latter half of the tour. Then we went to this bistro after the tour to go eat. And I got one more glass of wine. Well, he ordered I think he'd had two more screwdrivers. And I didn't even tell him to order me a third glass of wine. And he did. And he brought it. And I'm like, I can't. I said, I can't do this. I said, you didn't ask me about this one. I don't need to do this one. I took a couple of sips of that. And then he finished that. So you'll see a brief clip of us walking back to our hotel where we were staying. And I'm like pointing at him saying, he says I'm drunk, but he's the drunk one. And he's like, no, she's the drunk one. And so then we made it and got back to our hotel. And here's the thing too, like we were on the third floor and the section, it was called Chateau Orleans. So it's like you had all these different little buildings. And the section we were in didn't have an elevator. So we had to go up like 3 flights of stairs.
Oh,
So we made
no.
the stairs, no problem. Then we got in the room and I just felt happy because I get real silly and happy and giggly. I felt fine.
Yeah.
And the next thing you know, he's like stripped down to just his underwear and he's like laying on the bed like this. So I filmed him and I was like, "Are you okay?" He's like, "Huh?" I said, "Are you okay?" He said, "I'm just tired." I said, "Are you gonna be all right?" And then I'm like also laughing, like I can hardly control my laughing. And he's like, I fought the alcohol and the alcohol won." And then he went to sleep and I was afraid he would feel terrible the next day. And that was Saturday morning when we were going to meet with Kat and Kelsey. But he
Uh,
was okay. He was just tired. But I told him, I kept reminding him to drink plenty of water. I'm like, drink plenty of water, plenty of
yeah.
water. So then we went on to the Vampire Cafe and I wasn't sure if he would or not. I got the bottomless mimosas, so they have that, and he did too, and he was fine, but he was just cracking me up because he doesn't usually, not that I drink like a whole lot or anything by
Yeah.
any means. People gonna be talking about me. But I might have a glass or two of wine once or twice a week. And he usually doesn't do it even that much, maybe like once a month. So he was really like knocking them back, but it was funny. And then after we had the bottomless mimosas, like a little bit later that afternoon, he was like, "Let's go get some daiquiris." I'm like, "Let's do it."
Hey, like you say, it's not like you do it every single day and it was a
No.
special weekend, so what the heck?
And I couldn't do that I'm too old for that. And that's another thing. Like we walked everywhere, which we stayed right, in the French Quarter, like a block or two from Bourbon Street. So
Oh,
it
wow.
was loud, but it was great because we parked, like 3-day parking, and we just walked all over the place. There's no telling how much we walked, but I said that's a good thing because that'll kind of balance out all this drinking and all this eating we're doing because we're being sure to move our bodies, at
Yeah.
the same time. But my legs were so tired by the time we got done, especially going up and down those stairs. I was like,
Oh, yeah.
so I'm not young enough for this anymore. I am not. The only like bad experience we had, which I mean, it's just New Orleans, but we were in one place eating and I was coming out of the bathroom stall and this girl came running in and she had her face all covered up. Well, apparently she had gotten in a fight outside and somebody
Oh,
hit her and like busted her nose, but she ran into this restaurant. So they had to come and get her out of the bathroom and make her leave because she was in there like bleeding all over and she didn't
oh
get hurt
no.
in the restaurant. So they had to get her out of there. So that
Yeah.
was the only like negative thing we really saw, but
Hmm.
we didn't fight anybody. It's like, no, thank you. I'm just here to have fun. Let's see.
Exactly.
Try to catch up with these comments. I get to talking and forget about the comments. Oh, thank you, Melissa. Thank you for popping in while you're at work. I appreciate that. Thank you. Hope you have a good work day. Russell feels the same. I can't remember what we were talking about.
Yeah, I can't remember.
Say, I'm from Alabama. Okay, so Matt's from Oklahoma, right in the middle of the belt. Yeah, love it
Uh,
here, just not the politics. I feel you. I
yep.
feel you. There are a lot of beautiful places in Alabama too. Mobile has a lot to do, and then we have really beautiful beaches like Gulf Shores and Orange Beach, and then in the northern part of the state, like around Fort Payne, we have like really beautiful mountains. So there's a lot of beautiful nature here, but some of the other things are not so beautiful. Yeah, tangents. Oh yes. Yes, I'll be going on. And sometimes, too, when I realize that I've just like totally derailed myself in my YouTube video, I'll just start making faces and just go, what are you talking about? Nobody knows what you're talking about. You don't even know what you're talking about because I know I'm going to edit that out anyway.
See, I do hand signals and I do that "Nyeh," and something so that I know, yeah, here's where I went
Right,
nuts. Just cut that sucker out.
exactly. It's just in case there was any question, I'm just going to Oh, I like this. I like this. That I agree. People that have their shit together are boring. Yes. Yes. No boring people. Only people who can't keep their shit together and drop their phones in soapy water. Yes, please
Oh,
do keep
nice.
making videos. That I find like the more you do it, just like with anything else, you'll get better. And if your editing is never top notch, hey, I know mine won't be, and I'm not gonna worry about it. Somebody's still gonna watch. If anybody has any tips, real easy ways to edit, you can let me know, and I'll be happy to. I'll be happy to take you up on it. Thank you, Swank. Popping in. I know you from Cat's Sprints, Cat's Novel Adventures.
Nice.
Hello, Melissa. Good morning. Good morning. Oh, wow. Watching you from Southern British
Oh, hey.
Columbia, 15 to
Hello,
20-minute
Canadian.
drive. Yeah, from U.S.
Woo.
Canadian border. Awesome. Awesome. I hope to get to Canada one day. I would love to go. My mother visited, it's been several years ago, and she really enjoyed it. And I know a few people, that I've met through podcasting and BookTube that are in Canada. I actually have a meeting later on today with someone who is in Canada. And I just need to give her a shout out. She doesn't have a YouTube channel, but she has a website.
Nice.
She is Marissa, and her website is Le Salon Literary Discussions. And she hosts, they're like book clubs, except a dive deeper into book clubs, like the old fashioned literary salons. And she does 3 to 4 books a month, and you meet on Zoom with her, and there'll be several other people, and you really dive deeply into whatever book it is that was chosen for that particular salon event. And she also has her master's in English. And so what she does with it is these literary salons for adults. So we're doing a collaboration where we're going to talk about Phantom of the Opera by Gaston Leroy. That's one that we read recently in her salon. And so we're going to do like a deep dive discussion of it that's going to go on her podcast, and it'll be on my YouTube channel. So that way we can kind of, cross over where her podcast listeners can hear from me and my YouTube viewers can hear from her. So she's
Awesome.
great. But her website is Le Salon Literary Discussions, and I will be linking it below after the chat is done.
Okay,
And
perfect.
then you'll be able to see her on my channel. I'm not sure when the video will go up, but you can find her that way too.
Nice. See, look at all these connections and community building on your birthday.
So wonderful. Thank you for hopping in, Em. I know you are busy with homeschooling. I remember those days. Thank you. And she's saying it's nice to meet you, Elaine.
Nice to meet you too. And I've got my little list. I'll be heading over to channels after the live.
You will love Em, and I know she will love you. I try to be positive. I mean, not the toxic positivity kind, because sometimes life is shit, and I feel, if anybody who watches my channel I have major depressive disorder. So that's not something that's going to go away. It's something I have medication and therapy for. But at the same time, I'm going to give, something to hope for. I hope, in the midst of everything.
Jen, it's better to be real than to fake, right? So there's nothing wrong with, because you're right, we all have shit days.
Yeah.
And I mean, I've said that in some of my videos too, is I like to try and keep it upbeat and positive, and I'm talking about books. But if I'm having a shit day, then I'm going to tell you I'm having a shit day. And I did that when I worked in schools with students. I did that when I was the case manager with clients. It's like, I'm WYSIWYG. What you see is what you get. And if I'm in a really, really bad place, then guess what? I don't make a video because that's going to come through. And I'm not a politician, so I don't lie good, and I don't see it a skill that I want to develop.
No, I don't either, because I've been like, sometimes I've been in the middle of vlogs and it'll just, sometimes it just happens that
Yeah.
I'll have a worse like episode. And sometimes I can kind of step back and with my journaling see these situations happen that could have exacerbated it. But
Yep.
sometimes it just
Hit ya.
happens, and I'll just say in my vlog, this is just me right now and I can't be anything else. And I think people do appreciate that for
Yeah.
sure. And just knowing that you're not alone. Because I know at first when I started dealing with all of this depression,
Mm.
I didn't know what was going on. I thought I was the only person that felt this way. So once I got my diagnosis, I'm very honest, about it because I
Yeah.
don't want anybody else to ever get to the point I got to in 2017. Ever want that for anybody else.
Yep.
Oh, thank you, Constant. Thank you
Constance.
so much. 50 was a tough one for me. Yeah, I mean, like I said, 30 was the one that was really tough for me. But I know a lot of people have, difficulty with 40 and difficulty
Yeah.
with 50. I think a lot of it just is individual, of course, and then maybe what's going on during that season of our lives, how we kind of take these milestone birthdays, because there was one day last week, I think it was like last Tuesday, maybe, that I was feeling all right, just a normal kind of day. And I was in the middle of the store and all of a sudden I felt that dark cloud. Like if you have depression, that it just came on me and I was
Hits ya.
like, and so I was talking with Kat, my lovely friend from Kat's Novel Adventures, and she was asking, we were kind of thinking about what, if anything, we could figure out might have precipitated it. And she asked me if I thought it might be because I'm having this milestone birthday. And I said, I think that could be part of it, even though I am okay with turning 50 and I'm excited to be 50. There's also that, but what about the things that I didn't do that I wanted to do? And not that I can't still do things, obviously, I still am going to do things, but I also have to be realistic and look at the season of my life, not just my age, but, the amount of care and time it takes to care for my disabled daughter. There are certain things that I really can't do, and that's okay. And I just have to kind of say, these are the things I can do. And because I can't do this thing doesn't mean I can't do anything.
Yeah.
Let's see. 40 was tough for me. COVID. Yes. Melissa, I totally know what you mean there. With my birthday being when it is in April, when I turned 45, we were like in lockdown and I did a Zoom birthday party.
Sorry.
No, see, we talk about COVID, it kicks that in. But yeah, it was just, that's something else I was talking. I don't remember who I was talking to the other day, but we were talking about the collective trauma that we all experienced during COVID and during the lockdown. And I know there's a part of me and probably most people, we still don't really fully understand what that did to our psyche and what that did to our mentality, our emotions, our existence, because we're removed from lockdown. I mean, COVID's still a thing, it's going to be a thing, but there was so much fear and just isolation that a lot of people would benefit, I do feel, from therapy. People, I think, would benefit anyway. So I'm saying as a person who is in therapy and probably always will be, but just to try to deal with the things that we experienced, because that was traumatic. That was traumatic. People lost family members like I did. Tim, my husband, he works in the medical field and he lost some coworkers. Like he works in surgery, so they shut down, of course, any elective surgeries. They were only doing emergency surgeries, but they didn't want to just like lay off the people who worked in surgery. So what they did was to move them to taking care of COVID patients. So that's what my husband did. And every day when he got home from the hospital, he would stand outside in my carport, which we live in a rural area, but even if we didn't, it was what it was. He would strip off his scrubs, come in the house naked, go straight to the shower, then get out, then go back outside, and he had his scrubs bagged up. And he put them in the washing machine with the disinfecting washing, detergent. But he's washed his scrubs by themselves. They didn't go with the rest of us. It was like, even though they had to wear all that covering over them and everything, he still was taking those scrubs off and putting them in there.
Yeah.
So all of that, and then having my daughter home every day from school, and I was still homeschooling one of my kids. My other daughter, let's see, well, I have two daughters, then a son, and then my younger daughter. One of my homeschool kids had graduated, but my son was in his senior year. And so we were doing that, and people are like, oh, now everybody's homeschooling. And how do you do this all the time? Being so isolated. I'm like, this is not homeschooling. This is lockdown schooling.
Yeah.
We had like a homeschool co-op where we met once a week. We had dances. We had a prom. We had all the things and all the field trips and interactions. So I'm like, don't think that we're always sitting in this house. That is not the case. So all of that just really, I think shaped so much of where we are today.
Well, I think a big part of that, and you're exactly right. And I mean, I was lucky. My husband was still working. I've been home for a while because of the back issue. But so he was at least out and about. But there's a few people I know, and they got on the other side of COVID, as in the lockdowns and everything, but they didn't bring all of themselves to the other side. And they probably could benefit from therapy. And I got a biased opinion because my background psychology. Before I was an educational assistant, I was a counselor. And I mean, I think because there were so many different things going on, and that, being locked down. So if you weren't out, one of the people who were out and about, those out and about had that trauma of, what if I bring something home? What if that happens? People stuck at home and especially if they didn't have technology, so no connection or getting out and about. And what I really found, not that I've trusted news ever, but what I found is different things that I was watching, whether it was my local news here or something like from the States and the reports, because say what you will about Cuomo, at least the reports from New York were stats and data and something you could wrap your head around. Everyone's hoo-hoo with Ford right now because net for a change, Americans know we have politicians in Canada. They're all over your news. But what I found is what I was watching on the news is not what I experienced when I did go out, because we do our shopping on the weekend. It's my big woo-hoo. And people were in good spirits. Like it wasn't the stuff that you were hearing on the news. But again, all of that stuff impacted you based on where you were at emotionally. There was so much loss of life. There was all the stress about the seniors, and so many seniors we lost.
Yes.
Probably not a good time to just read George Orwell again in 2024. And I'd actually read him in 1983, and 1984 scared the hell out of me. But we didn't have all of that stuff. I actually did a video comparing 1984 to 2024. And reading it 40 years later, I mean, now we have things like the internet. You don't need the government to put Big Brother in your house. How many people
Right.
have these cameras in every frickin' room
Yeah.
voluntarily? They went and
Yes.
paid to put it in their homes.
Yes.
You know, it,
1984 is, yeah, it's one of my favorite classics, but oof, it's a tough one. I don't think I'd
yeah,
revisit it right now. And that's like The Handmaid's Tale is a book that that greatly scared the shit out of me years ago. I
yeah.
wrote a paper on it, actually, I think two in grad school. And
Mm.
I do watch the series, but the latest season, which is the final season, came out this month.
Oh,
And I I'm usually one that's like I'll watch anything no matter what because I find it cathartic sometimes to face in horror what's really happening. But
yeah,
even I haven't I haven't been able to watch it. I couldn't get into the headspace to watch this final season. I'm going to watch it, but I think I'm gonna have to wait until things get better because I
yeah,
believe they are. I do believe they are. I'm not just saying that. I think sometimes you have to come to this place where there's a last dying gasp and breath from certain dictators and certain ways of thinking, their last ditch effort because they know that it's going to come to an end. So I feel like we're there, but in the meantime, I can see it in real life. I just can't, even though they're fighting back at this point in The Handmaid's Tale, and they have fought back and they've had
yeah.
victories. I still can't watch it right now. I just can't do it.
But I think that's an important point as well, whether it's books or TV shows, is the headspace you're in when
Mm-hmm.
you're reading or watching and knowing if it's okay. Like, well, you and I, did you watch The Terror, the series?
I did. I did.
Okay.
I read the
And I
book.
knew you read the book
Series.
because I remembered laughing at your video because you had like this much snow and your city was shut down. And I'm
It
like,
was
really?
yes.
Are you kidding me? Like, you got this much snow.
Right.
What do you mean your stores and everything are closed? We get
Right.
this much snow, like a foot and a half, and maybe things are closed.
Uh,
But see, then I also forget you don't have snow plows and you're not
no.
used to driving in snow that's
No.
a foot deep with a car, not even a truck, a car.
No. We were like, it was very rare for us to get any. And we got 6 inches here, but like in New Orleans, some places got 10 inches. And that's like unheard of for us, down here. So it was like, it was exciting. It was wonderful. I got to play in it and it's so much fun. But yeah, they have to shut stuff down because no, where we are, it was like snow. We know what to do for hurricanes. We know about those.
Yeah,
Snow, it's over. Everything's over. Snowpocalypse.
I know. So I watched your video and I'm just in hysterics as you're, prancing in your yard and talking about the city shut down the next day. And I'm like,
Yes.
what now? But so, yeah, so, reading that and the Prime series, those were good. And I read, actually, it's funny, it's how I got on Voxer. Dave and Olive from Book Blather invited me to do a buddy read of The Handmaid's Tale. And then we were joined by Vin from Revenant Reads. And I have to say, it was awesome reading that book with two guys. I mean, granted, they're enlightened guys, right?
Right.
So their points were amazing to listen to. And that was my first buddy read. So it was a really fun experience. But I had read The Handmaid's Tale way back in high school. And I remember, because I've never been a need a man for your life and all of that jazz. Could have been because I read Handmaid's Tale back then.
No, that'll do
But
it.
but again, the difference of reading it back in must have been late 1970s for me.
Mm-hmm.
And then reading it just last year, because I was doing the 24 in 2024 that MJ had. And actually 1984 fit in it, but I was purposely waiting for year 40 to read that, so I would have read it anyway. But even with Handmaid's Tale, reading it in the 70s, those things didn't exist. You didn't walk around with a debit card and pay for everything
Right.
like you do now. Now that shit could happen.
Yes.
You know, like
Yes.
your money could suddenly be inaccessible. And
That is
I think that's what really, oh, wait, I'm just seeing someone said came out in 1985. Okay, so I must have read it when I was in my 20s. But yeah, I mean, stuff in even that book now could potentially happen. Whereas with my first read, it was all like, no, we have cash. You go to the bank and you put your paycheck in, you take cash out. We didn't have debit cards and debit machines, right? And yeah, it really is a creepy. I'm glad I read it last year because I wouldn't want to read it this year. And I watch very little TV anymore, like maybe 6 hours a week maximum, which is amazing because I used to start in the morning, I'd watch game shows, the afternoons were the soaps, and the evenings were, you know, Supernatural. Or now I maybe watch 6 hours a whole week because I read more or catching up on BookTube and other stuff. But I do think it's really important to think whatever you're picking up to read is what's your headspace, what's going on. And because, like I joke too, horror is my happy place.
Yeah.
And ghost stories. So, you know, if I'm reading about, or vampires. So if I've got vampires, horror, and, you know, that genre, I'm okay no matter what shite's going on in the world. I got my happy reads. But I also read a lot of nonfiction, but that I have to be careful with because if it's getting into mindsets, I don't read political stuff or really biographies, that kind of thing. But like, I'm laughing right now because 4 of my books from the library were just auto-renewed. Excuse me. 3 of them were Michael Shermer. So The Moral Arc, about Alfred Watson, the one who was involved with Darwin. There's another one about, you know, the way we think and move through the world. Oh, it's essays on skeptics. And then there's The Future of Humanity, which has to do with space and going to Mars and all of that. Well, all 4 of those books were automatic renewed, which is good because I still need to read 2 of them before I return them. Court of Silver Flames. Had to finish that sucker in a few days because there is a massive months long waiting list. So isn't it funny that, you know, the Think and Process books I could automatic renew and get for 3 more weeks. But the Smut and Boom Chicka Wawa Faye stuff, that's got to get back there like El
That's what everybody wants, right? Not me, because I have not read any ACOTAR. My best friend loves it and she wants me to read it, but she understands like that I probably won't. So I've read some other stuff that she's really wanted me to read because she's into all that kind of stuff. So I've read what's that? Butcher and Wren, something like that, where you've got a serial killer guy and a serial killer girl that end up meeting each other and like having a thing and kind of just it's kind of smutty romance. And I was like, I can't. I read it and I was like, I just can't. But I did finish it for her, so she understands. And she's not a big horror person, but she has branched out into some horror for me. I never forced her. She's the one who's like, I think I can do this one. So she'll say, what do you think about this one? I'll say, okay. And then there are some things I'm like, no, I don't think you should. So we try to kind of balance it out. I'm laughing at this too. I'm 38 and a hangover sounds terrible. For my 20s, 24, I'd be fine after a few hours and water unavailable for 2 weeks. Yeah. Yeah. Cause like I drank more than I usually do in New Orleans, but I did not get a hangover. I knew my
Nice.
limitations. And it's so easy to just keep going, but I was like, no, I can't because of the age thing. No, in my 20s, yeah. Yeah. Let's see. Russell said my parents live on Lake Weiss and it's beautiful. I don't know where. Is that it? Where is that? Does anybody know? Tell me where that is, Russell. I probably should know. Is it in Alabama and I don't know? That would be embarrassing.
Well, there's a lot in Ontario I don't know, but our province is massive. So
Lizzie Russell, I tried to look up your
Okay.
channel. The first thing that popped up are videos of trials. What did you Russell, are you keeping a secret? Try Elaine's tip. Try the recent uploads. If you can't find Russell, let me know and I will help you find him. Let's see. Melissa said 40 was tough because I was not only dealing with the pandemic and the shit show that it was, but also that is a double dose of, difficulty right there, stuff. Melissa. I hope all is well with you now. I sure hope so. Let's see. I'm 45 and while I was diagnosed at 41, doing much better than I was 5 years ago. Good. That's good to hear, Melissa. I'm glad. Sue, thank you, Sue. Thank you so much. Thank you, Melissa. I totally get that. Yeah.
Yeah,
it is.
Yep.
It is. And I was just thinking, like, when Elaine was talking about when the debit or credit cards didn't work, to me, I mean, the whole thing, once the, shit really hits the fan, is scary. But there's something to me about that buildup, probably because of where we are right now. But that very buildup where the boss comes in and tells the women they have to leave.
Yeah.
Job that he's, it's not his decision, but he's being forced to make the decision. And then June tries to use her credit card or debit card and it won't work. And then there's this whole line, and I don't remember if it's in the book because so much of what we see now, of course, comes from the series. So sometimes I get the two like mixed up. Yep. But there's the part, and I'm pretty sure it was in the book too, where they talk about the Constitution being briefly suspended, but it's going to be, it's going to be in effect again. But we're just, for the time being, we've briefly suspended the Constitution. We've had to institute martial law. That's probably why I can't even think or look too close at The Handmaid's Tale, for fear, not even kidding, that I would go into a full-fledged panic attack. Because I've had a couple of those since November 5th.
Oh, and totally understandable, with, like I say, up here, we only get bits and pieces. Excuse me. I know, talking to some people from the United Kingdom, the reporting they get is a bit different. Hang on, got a dry tickle. I'm going to mute and I'll be right back.
All right. I understand. I had to keep drinking this. We've had allergies, like the pollen counts really, really bad this year. And my allergies have been kicking my butt. I agree, Melissa. Yeah. Some days I avoid any news and just watch something. Yeah. And see, I don't watch the news. I get my information from a historian named Heather Cox Richardson. She has a newsletter. She also has a Facebook account, which sometimes Facebook will hide her posts, but you can get her newsletter. And because she's not a news person, she is a historian, and she just lays the facts out there. She doesn't sensationalize them. Now, I mean, just because of what's happening, it feels sensational right now. But she just lays out, this is the decision that's been made. These are similar things that have happened in history. And, here are some concerns. And then also she links all of her sources where she gets her information. And none of them are like these news channels.
Yeah.
She feels like a dose of common sense and reality. It's difficult still to read her newsletter because of everything that's happening. But she, when you go to her, she's got no sort of bias or agenda. It's here are the facts. Here's why I'm concerned. But she's not like news flash, blah, all this stuff. The last gasp of that. Yes. Yes, I agree. Especially seeing what we saw with the protest and just how many people were there.
And that's it too, things are happening. I try and keep karma in mind because nobody's worth building karma.
Right.
Oh, Kitty!
Freya, say hey. Say hey, Freya.
But right now, excuse me, as dark as this sounds, what's keeping me going is every day is one day closer to that last breath.
Yes.
Because no matter what carp you do, who you pay off, who you blackmail, yep, you know what? There's one thing you can't avoid ever.
Exactly.
And I'm not saying it'll be this week or next week. It might be 10 years, but either way, we're one day closer.
Absolutely. It's funny you started talking about karma and then the cat jumped up here with me. Like, my cat's name is Frere, but if any of you are Swifties like I am, Taylor Swift has a song called Karma. And, part of the chorus is karma is a cat purring in my lap because it loves me. And then she says to you about, karma. Basically, she says karma is a good thing for her, but she's talking to whoever the bad deed doer is. And she says, aren't you envious that for you it's not? And Chappell Roan, I'm also a Chappell Roan fan. She has a great song called My Kink is Karma.
Oh, I got it. Yeah, I wrote that down. I need to listen to that.
It's a fun one. Let's see. Jumps on. That's okay. Yeah, he isn't actually friends with anyone. Friends, yes. Once they lose either, yes, exactly. And there's already some rumblings of disagreement between Muskrat and some of Orange person's cronies.
And I will, on behalf of whatever idiot Canadian allowed that one to immigrate here at 17, and then he went down south, as many, sadly, there are Canadians who do that. But, more opportunity in LA and whatnot for them. But yes, he came here from South Africa before he went down there. I want to know what stupid immigrant official allowed him that citizenship. Could have saved us all a whole lot of trouble, but
absolutely.
We digress.
Absolutely. Tea time in the UK. Thank you so much, Ben. Have a lovely, lovely tea time. Oh, I love it. Everybody's, so kind in the comments.
I love that too. And I've noticed that on my lives is how people interconnect and chit chat. Again, community, right? It's so important.
Is that British Columbia? Massive.
Yep.
Oh, it is in Alabama. Russell let me know. Northern
there you
Alabama.
Go, Jen.
Lake White. Well, I need to go up there and see. Yay, another connection. I love it so much. Horror books are my jam. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does. Horror can do so much. I mean, I feel like there's almost a type of horror for everyone because it's so varied and so many things can fit into horror.
Well, and even like talking with Cujo, right? It may be, excuse me, a horror book.
Mm-hmm.
But there's so much more to it. which actually with ACOTAR, and I'm not going to say too much because I got to save it for my video.
Mhm.
But the one thing I will say, although it was thousands and thousands of pages, I hadn't planned on reading because there's 4 books altogether. One's a novella because I guess she couldn't slap it on the end of one of the other doorstops.
They are big.
But the nice thing is, because I'm not really interested in reading Boom Chicka Wawa, I could care less. That's not why I pick up a book. So I could skip pages and pages and cut that sucker down in reading time.
Mhm.
Now, other people, if that's, what makes you happy and you enjoy reading it, then you'd read all of it. But for example, just in Silver Flames, because I made note of it, I couldn't tell you what the other ones, and
Mhm.
thankfully my library had it. I didn't buy them. One scene is 10 pages long. I know they're Faye, but like seriously, 10
That's some
pages?
spicy marathoning right there.
That's way more detail than I need to know about anybody.
That's probably my best friend's favorite parts of the book. I'll tell on her now because I'm not giving her name and she doesn't have booktube, so she
Yeah.
can be anonymous. But yeah, she loves the smut now. She loves it. It cracks me up. Let's see, Rachel Maddow. Yeah, she's a good person to follow too.
See, I like Lawrence. Is about the few out of that whole crew. Rachel sometimes, and I only see the little snippets
Mhm.
on YouTube because we only have Prime. We got rid of cable years ago,
Yeah.
and I refuse to be nickel and dime to death with all these damn streaming channels that didn't learn from cable because you pay your fee, or you did with cable, and then you had to buy this, and this for if you wanted the Sci-Fi Channel and the Mystery
Uh-huh.
Channel. And it's like, no, screw you. I
Yeah.
just paid like I'm paying you monthly.
It's frustrating.
Well, and now the streaming channels are the same.
Uh-huh.
If you want to watch this or that, you need Hulu and this and that
Mhm.
and the other one. And it's like, no, nerds to you, I went back to books. Good luck with that, folks.
It is annoying. Like we don't have cable either, but we have Prime, we have Netflix, we have Hulu, we have AMC Plus because that also has Shutters, so all the scary stuff, and then Paramount. Now I don't plan to keep Paramount forever. Oh, we have Max. I have to have Max because I have to watch The Last of Us. So I'm like, no, I have to. You see, I have to. But Paramount, I've got so I can finish watching Twin Peaks, the series,
Mm.
and then I want to watch Firewalk with Me, and Yellow Jackets is a show that's like streaming now. It's a newer show, and it's in its 3rd season, episode 10. But whenever that season of Yellow Jackets is over and I have watched all of the Twin Peaks episodes and
Mm.
Fire Walk with Me, I will, cancel my Paramount. And then when the next season of Yellow Jackets comes out, then I'll get it again. But the other ones, I'm like, no, see, I have to have Hulu because some of my horror movies come just on Hulu and the Handmaid's Tale series, which I said I'm not ready to watch that season yet. And then Netflix because it has other like different things. And so it is like you said, though, it's like so much. And then they're like, no, you have to buy this one and this one and this one. And I'm like, y'all are getting on my nerves, but I still keep doing it. What can I say?
Well, and I think part of it for me, because there are different series, and my husband watches more TV than I do, although not a whole ton because he just watches in the evening. He's at work in the day. But I find I can't be bothered to invest in characters for 8 episodes and call it a season. I grew up when a season was 22 to 25 episodes. All the new shows started in September. All the new cartoons started in
Yeah.
September. So as a kid, I was always excited for all the new Hanna-Barbera starting in
Uh-huh.
September. And then as an
Yep.
adult, all the new series, all the new shows, and they ran right until I think May
May,
or
yep.
June.
Then
And
they
then
did the
the
summer
rerun.
reruns in case you missed something. Because back when we didn't have streaming and recording, if you missed it, you missed it, and you had to hope for the rerun.
Yeah. And it didn't bother me because I grew up in the country, so I was outside all summer
Uh-huh.
long, right? So reruns, who cares? I'm not inside anyhow. I'm either running out in the fields or I'm off at the beach or whatever with my
Yep.
friends as I got older. And so to me, that was a season. And even Supernatural, which is probably one of the last types of shows I watched,
Mm-hmm.
was 25 episodes, right? You see character development, you get
Yes.
into things. And then I watched Wheel of Time,
Mm-hmm.
excuse me, on Prime. And then I'm like, oh, these are books. And then, of course, it wasn't coming back, wasn't coming back, wasn't coming back. Well, I read the entire series, 14 books in 2022. I'm like, I don't care if it ever comes back. I know how it ends.
Yes.
And it's not the same as the show, anyways. So that's when I really started getting back into book versus watching TV because I
Mm-hmm.
love the novels. And I'm actually Ven is my co-host. We're doing a group read of the entire series of
Oh,
Wheel of Time.
fun.
And but yeah, for me, it's 8 episodes, and who knows if it's coming back or wait a year. And they were already starting to do that with Haven,
Mm-hmm.
based on Colorado Kid. And
Mm-hmm.
that bothered me when they started with that, but yet that's what streaming video seems to be.
Yes.
And because I'm an asshat and a skinny bitch, I think it's funny these actors, actresses were on strike. And I'm like, do you know what strike even means? You don't go to work, not you get exceptions and everybody's still got your product. And I didn't even know they were on strike until my husband told me, because, like I say, I don't really watch TV.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, those days of Jim Parson making $20 million a year for 20 episodes of Big Bang are gone if you've
Yep.
only got 8 shows.
Yep.
You just screwed yourself, people. Like, do you not see the big picture?
I know. It is a mess. It is a mess out there. Let's see, karma's a bitch. Yeah, it is for some people, and I'm just gonna sit around and just wait for it. Muskrat, yeah, we have to be. We got to say things in a certain way, you know.
See, it's
Although I
making
really
us
hate to
creative.
insult the muskrats like that. I have nothing against muskrats.
That's true.
Yes, horrors of
Yes.
it is. Let's see. Melissa said Muskrat's
Yes,
mom is Canadian.
she is. That's how we got here.
Well, bless her heart, as we say in the South. Oh, good. Yay.
Nice.
Connection. 10 pages.
10
10
pages.
pages. That's a marathon smut scene. I love it. Back to books.
Yippers.
Yes. That could be our logo. Back to books.
Yeah.
The current season of Last of Us was filmed in
Oh, wow.
Vancouver. Yeah, The Last of Us, like, it was a video game first. I don't play video games. I'm not like a gamer person, but my son
Me
is.
neither.
So I would watch him play The Last of Us. And I was like, that's really interesting because now, you know, video games, I'm going to show my age, but they've got all these elaborate stories and like these
Yeah.
between where you're playing, you're watching this story. And I really enjoy watching him play The Last of Us. And then they did the series, and it is so good. And it
Wow.
has Pedro Pascal, and I just think he's an amazing person. Like, I don't know him in real life, clearly, but everything that I ever see him saying, everything that people have been around him saying, seems like a really cool guy. And he's not bad to look at either.
Eye candy is always good. That's why I like
Yeah.
Supernatural. And
Oh yeah.
actually, Supernatural was filmed all 15 years in Vancouver, British Columbia.
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah, I agree. Horror allows you to safely approach the dark
Yeah.
places, in turn making you comfortable within the depths of the uncomfortable. Yes, I agree. Yep, lots of agreement here.
Yeah.
Oh,
Thanks.
I'm gonna write a fanfic for Dig Dug. Oh, that would be hilarious.
Now,
Speaking
see,
of old school video games.
and in the front of, I think it's Night Shift, Stephen King, it's Night Shift or Skeleton Crew. I just
Mhm.
finished Night Shift a little while ago and started Skeleton Crew. I can't remember which intro he puts it in, but he actually talks about he's lucky that he's found a way to let that stuff out of his head, and he writes books while other people are in psychiatric wards.
Yes.
Because see, he gets it out, gets it on the paper, and it doesn't get into other parts of his life, right?
Yes.
Whereas other people, they don't have that way to release it in a different way. He gets his stuff out on paper, and I still think it's hilarious because in both of those books, and I was so excited to get two of them for $1 at my thrift store.
That
I'm
is
like,
such a good
yes,
deal. That is
two
such a good deal.
Monsters King books for $1.
Yes.
That's awesome. But in the front, it also tells you where all the short stories were published, and a number of his were published in Playboy and Playpen.
Yeah.
So I guess the guys weren't just buying those for the girlies; they were buying it to
They
read the
were. They
stories.
were when it came to King, right? I'm reading Night Shift now. I've read some of it before, but I'm rereading it because of a podcast that I'm on, and
Nice.
so I am currently. I just finished it was a reread for me of Trucks, and now I'm
Ah.
into a reread of Sometimes They Come Back. But there's a
Oh
few that I
yeah.
haven't read in this collection that will be first time reads for me, but I'm having a lot of fun with it. I was much more like reading his novels, and only later as an adult have I started to go back and try to catch up on like his short story collections. So that's been a lot of fun for sure.
He's got a lot of amazing books, and I mean, like I said, I started reading him when Carrie was first published. Barlow was my second vampire because, of course, Dracula's first. Hello, my family's from Hungary. Kind of,
Oh, yes.
kind of important.
Yes.
It was historical, not just horror. And
Exactly.
Stoker did an amazing job of doing his research and the history. And that's one thing I was hoping to do it last year, but I might do it this year because I am interested in Vlad,
Mhm.
who the book is based on, Vlad Zepes.
Mhm.
And there's that whole historical thing. There's the accuracy that Stoker put in and the Carpathian area. And I mean, my dad came from this little teeny village and dirt roads and everything. It was like not fancy because he came to Canada when he was 12.
Mhm.
But I remember him telling me about, things that happened and that because back then, right, you didn't do embalming and all that kind of stuff. Um, the body would be in the living room and people would come to pay their respects. And he used to love telling me about the one time there was one person they thought who was deceased and no, and sat up and like, what's everybody doing? And like everyone's losing their shit, right? Because yeah, back in the day, sadly, people did end up going on because they didn't have the same kind of medical stuff and that.
Right.
But yeah, and so just to clarify with that too, my dad met his dad when he was 12 years old because my grandfather left Hungary in 1926, came to Canada, worked, saved money, sent money back home to my grandmother for her and the 3 kids. And it was 12 years till he worked, saved, bought a farm, and brought his whole family to Canada.
Wow.
Not like now where you just, oh, hey, bring the whole clan over.
Right.
Welfare, you're on it.
Wow.
Whoa.
Wow.
So I give my grandma a lot of credit because, I mean, people over there were like, he's not taking you over there. He's going to meet himself some Canadian honey
Yeah.
and he's going to leave you over here. But nope, 12 years later, over they came and my dad met his dad.
That is amazing. That is an amazing story. My
Yeah,
gosh.
my family's so cool. Well, except for my birth mother, but we won't go there.
I understand. Mainly horror story driven games. Yeah, I'm no good at the modern video games. I used to be quite the whiz at Super Mario Brothers, but I can't play these new ones now. There's too many buttons. I run into walls and fall off cliffs, and my kids would laugh at me when I tried.
See, I loved Super Mario and Zelda.
Yes. Night Shift, it is. I'm enjoying that collection so far, for real.
It's a good one.
Fanfic Dig Dug. What? Where are the monsters just psychological? Let's see. Blowing them up into balloons is just a metaphor for him ignoring his past regrets. And they just multiply and balloon in his mind. See? Are y'all writing these story collaboration here? Writing the story together. Oh.
See, now all I play are match 3 games because that's my brain dump. When I'm trying to figure or I just need a break, I do like share something silly like that. Because as much as I love Zelda and Mario and the others, you actually have to think while you're playing. And especially these new games, like you say, they're so detailed and I'm like, no, if I'm playing a game, I want to be able to, if maybe I need 10 or 15 minutes and then walk away. And you can't do that with those types of games. Like you either need to get to a certain level or something, or you can't save it and you lose everything. And I realized I had to stop playing because my husband, the one year for Christmas, so excited, bought me a game because we used to have, I think it was the Nintendo back then, the little, you slide them in the thing. And so he was so excited, bought me this game, and it was a Zelda type game. Now, when I get to certain things, I am like laser focused. I finished the game in 2 days. He's like, this was supposed, and I'm like, I had to keep going. I was close, and then I was next to, and so I probably stayed up till 2, 3 in the morning, got a few hours sleep, and was back at it because it was through Christmas holidays. But still, he's like, forget it. I'm not getting you another one. Like that wasn't even a challenge, for Pete's sakes. I'm like, sorry.
I know. Like I have tried to play, I think, The Last of Us and some other like zombie games with my son. But as much as I love to read horror and I love getting anxious and worked up reading it or watching movies, love horror movies. But when I was like the person in charge and these zombies would start coming all around me, I just like freak out. I can't do it. And he's like, that's so funny because you're so not scared of anything. I said, well, there's just something about being in control here, but not in control because I can't just run away because I don't know how to operate this damn thing with all these different buttons. I'll be hit, like I said, running into the walls and then they come and they get me and it's over. I'm like, I can't do it.
Oh, hey, did you watch The Happening?
I have not yet, but it is still on my to-watch list.
Okay, and I can't remember because I did look it up afterwards. I do remember enjoying it, but I can't remember if it has to do with the virus or nature fighting back. I just wanted to make sure I clarified that with you. And just as I'm like, oh yeah, I've been meaning to tell you that,
I
but
am
it is a
good with
creepy
either
movie.
of those things. Love a good, virus spreading movie. Don't love it in real life, but
Yeah, exactly.
like to watch it on screen. And nature fight, I'm always down for that. Tetris. I used to play Tetris. I
Yeah.
used to play it back in the day. Oh, see, look at this. Maybe the regrets become corporal and come after him. Masterpiece in the making. Yeah. Yes.
Nice.
Thank you for hopping on, Melissa. I have got to go too, so I can grab some lunch and then get ready to do a meeting. But I'm looking at it as more of a fun meeting instead of a work meeting with
Nice.
Marissa to talk about Phantom of the Opera, because she told me, she's like, we can't, we were supposed to do it one day last week, and then my daughter got sick and we had to reschedule. And she was like, well, we can do it Monday. And then she was like, no, we can't do it. That's your birthday. You don't need to work on your birthday. I said, well, I don't think of this as work. It's fun. So we are doing it.
Awesome. Yeah, and I'm
Yes.
surprised my kitties haven't been stampeding because their lunch is going to be late.
Most of the time, yeah, cats will let you know if you were like 1 minute past, anything they want. Well, thank you everyone for joining. I appreciate your wonderful birthday wishes and just a wonderful community, new faces, and I'm not going to call you old faces, but more familiar faces. Everybody, I'm glad that we were able to connect here and that we were able to find each other, and that all of you were able to find each other too and make some new bookish friends. If you are catching this on the replay, I just want to give you a shout out and say hello and thanks for watching later. And I will see you in my next video, hopefully Wednesday, where I'll talk about 10 more horror books that shaped me. And thank you, Elaine. Thank you for coming.
Oh, my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Thank you, Russell. I've had fun too. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.